Okay, I just want to tell you the history of the place. So obviously we're on the top of the Church of the Holy Sepulchre. Well, how did it happen? How did it start? Jesus was crucified and he was buried, and the two places were close to one another. That's the understanding that we get from the Bible. So within the building of the Church of the Holy Sepulchre, you will find both what according to this tradition connected to this place. You'll find both Golgotha and also where Jesus' tomb used to be. How do they know? Well, the story of church building started actually in the early 300s. It started with the bishop of Jerusalem begging Queen Helena. She was Constantine's mother. Constantine was the first Christian emperor. Okay? The mother was very religious, and she was begged to come to the Holy Land and to do something about the Christian holy sites by the Bishop of Jerusalem. They didn't have any churches in Jerusalem up to that. They only had places that they kept holy, where they would kind of have meetings of different kinds. And so she took a trip to this part of the world and actually checked out where tradition said the places would be. Now, what you know about the holy places, holy grounds, tradition is very important, especially when it's old tradition. I'm not talking about from the Crusader period, because they went completely nuts. I'm talking about early Christians from the Byzantine period and from before the Byzantine period. That tradition is well worth respect. So she was told that actually Jesus' tomb was underneath a temple that had built for Jupiter. Again, holy places, holy ground is holy ground. Other people will use the same holy ground. Why would you do that? First, it's holy ground, and second, you make other people stay away from your place. It's an efficient way to keep other people away. Why don't you have any Jews on top of the Temple Mount? Because it belongs to the Muslims, and you won't have any Jews up there. I was surprised to see a little group of Jews with a kippah. It's the first time I've seen that. I have no idea what they did up there, but I've seen that only once. Usually Jews do not go on top. Hello. Hi, Missy Maliben Sabraha. You see? على كيفك أنا خشام. You asked me what we do for Easter, for Passover. This year, we're doing together with our congregation in Yaakov.
Right.
Yaakov has invited everyone, the whole congregation to do that.
Yaakov?
Yeah, Yaakov. Jacob? Yaakov. Yes. Doesn't have it. Yaakov. Alright, so where are I? Queen Helena came to Jerusalem and checked out the places where the Christians said that early tradition had it that this is the actual place. When it came to where is Jesus buried, or where was he buried, where is Golgotha, they said this is the place. Pointing at that particular place that had a temple dedicated to Jupiter and Jupiter. It was the most expensive place that she could start to hassle with in Jerusalem. It would be much cheaper for her to go somewhere else and build the church and call it the Church of the Holy Sepulchre. You understand my point? If she was not serious about this, if she was not convinced that this was the place, the right place, she would have found a cheaper place. This made it actually 2-3 times more expensive to build a church. Why do I say that? In 135, Hadrian, the Roman emperor, Gentile guy, had destroyed Jerusalem altogether and had rebuilt it according to a Greek style polis, a Greek city. Okay? Ruined everything, rebuilt it again. This was center of town where you have all the administration, city administration, the most important streets, okay? And that is where they pointed out to her. So what did she do? She ruined the temple. Underneath the foundation of the temple, she found underneath the temple, she found ancient tombs. They have been dug into the rock, and one of them must have had Christian symbols or something on it. So she decided that that must be the one that Jesus was buried in, because it has all these symbols. And then she isolated that from the rest of the tombs. Cut down the rock surrounding tombs. She was not interested in those. Left one in the middle and built a church around that. That was the first part of the church. It's just underneath that cross. And we're going to be there. Now, what happened 1,000 years later? Not 1,000 years later, but in 1010. There was a Muslim leader in Jerusalem. He didn't like Christianity, he didn't like Christians, and did not want Christian sight. So he actually walked into the church and chiseled down whatever was left of that tomb, of that particular tomb. It's strange that he did that because Muslims also actually worship Jesus, or consider him a holy person. But he chiseled that all the way down to the ground. So he left nothing of that particular tomb. But the building around it is still a building around it, and they have replaced the tomb with some kind of alabaster structure, so that we can see something and kind of figure out what it may have looked like. You may not like the church. The first time I went into the church, I was happy that I wouldn't have to go back in there ever again. Although I could say that I did it. You know, the same with the church of Nativity in Bethlehem. That was also one of the churches that Helena built, and also one of a couple of the elders that we don't have anymore. But some of these old churches are like, they're very strange. If you grew up in a Protestant kind of background, and very far from all these icons and Roman Catholic and even Greek, all that, far away from that. It may be a disappointing experience to go walking on something like this. But I like the place because people have been walking their shoes off to get to this place, and they've come from all over the world, and they still do, and that is something that it has something nice about it. So that's what I like about it. Not much.
Where is that verse, Eileen, with some that if the rock if the stones will be quiet, when the rock will cry?
No, if you are quiet, the stones will cry. The stones will cry. Yes. Well, I interpret that verse to be kind of archaeology.
I just got it.
Yeah.
I feel like I just got something.
Yeah. But on the other hand, he also calls people living stones. You know, if he refers to people as living stones, and he refers to if you don't say anything, the stones will cry.
Isn't Hebrew thought double in meaning a lot?
That is from the New Testament, and that was when he said it, I don't know exactly what it would be like. Anyway, so that's the church. What we have today is the remains of what would be Golgotha. When we go down to the church and enter the church, we walk up some stairs, steep stairs, and when we get up on top of what used to be Golgotha, or is considered Golgotha, this cliff that he was crucified on. Where the altar is, I'm telling you this because there may be full of people down there, okay? Where the altar is, underneath you can see bedrock or rock. Alright? And it has a fissure that goes through it. And they say that was when the ground was shaking in the earthquake. That has a fissure from that period. Okay? And then afterwards we walk down the stairs and we do a little circle and end up where the sepulchre is or was. And we see what the situation is, whether we go inside or do not go inside, and then we find a place and decide when you have to be back. And then if you want to do the church by yourself and use more time in church, you're free. We give some free time, that's my point. I don't want to keep the whole group inside the church to enter that particular grade if you're not interested. Thank you. That will have to be your choice.
Thank you.
Okay, so are you ready for the church? We're going to walk through two of the Ethiopian chapels and pay attention to the painting on the wall.